we are going to be trying out a new segment. You guys just let us know what you think if you want it to come back in future weeks. But we want to talk about fantasy football a little bit more. Obviously, we all play it. We all enjoy it. And we want to help you guys out. On our Instagram, sometimes we throw up some like sit-start decisions. We want to answer your guys' questions. And we just thought maybe we come each week. Each one of us has a start player. We have a sit player. We tell you why, just in case they're on your bubble. We want to tell you. So my fantasy start for this week, which is someone that if you have him, you got to make sure to jam him into your lineup. It's a little bit of an under the radar pick. It's going to be T. Higgins. He's been a player that I've been trying to buy low in fantasy leagues. Haven't had much success yet because people just don't want to move off of him as much, or they just don't respond. But T. Higgins last week led the Bengals in targets with 15 targets. Coming off of injury the past couple of weeks, he got 15 targets in one game. And it was for that, like it was an underwhelming performance. But in fantasy football, you follow the volume. It's a great Bengals offense. They're not going to have as many big plays as they did last week every single week. Like the big plays will go to Jamar Chase, but CJ Uzoma isn't going to have a 40, 50-yard touchdown every single week. And the Bengals this week, they're coming in, they're playing the Jets. They should be in the red zone a lot, and that is where T. Higgins thrives. He is the red zone piece of this Bengals offense. So while he hasn't been having as many, big plays because Jamar Chase is taking those, when it gets down to the red zone, he is their guy. So this week against the Jets, I think you really have to start T. Higgins.
Even though Jamar Chase is that big guy, Higgins is still getting a good amount of targets. Like the target share is actually still pretty good in Cincy, but my start of the week is actually going to be Damian Harris against the Chargers. Damian Harris, for the past couple of games, he's actually been doing pretty good. He's been getting better. And this Chargers run defense, I mentioned it, I think 1 or 2 podcast episodes ago, probably last podcast episode. It's not good. Their run defense is not good. So I could see Damian Harris having a big game, especially when I think the game plan for the Pats in this game is just going to be running the football and controlling the clock with the ground game. So I could see Damian Harris having a good game here and build off of those last few weeks where he's been improving and he's been looking a lot better.
Cool. So my fantasy start is Alvin Kamara. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Again, this one is not biased. It's just factual. Adam Thielen against the Dallas Cowboys. And I know this one's also kind of a bit obvious, but I think, there have been some games where people have been like, should I go off him? Because he did have 2 straight games under 50 yards, but in the other 4 that he's played, he's had a touchdown or over 100 yards in those 4. So I think you put him into your lineup against Dallas. Trayvon Diggs is going to he's not really on an island. I think he plays side to side sometimes. So he's going to be on Jefferson a little bit. He's going to be on Thielen. And it's not even that because they play zone. He's a zone corner. So this whole like Trayvon Diggs is like an island. It's not really true.
It's not.
But so I think Thielen's gonna feast on this Dallas secondary, and I think it's gonna be kind of a back and forth game. I don't know Dak's status, so that'll be interesting. But Thielen is my start. I think he's kind of picked it back up. I think he had 13 targets the week before against Carolina, so I think he's expected him to get volume, and I still think he is the best receiver on that team, wide receiver 1. But I think Jefferson's gonna overtake him at the end of the game.
Man, couldn't make it one episode without saying
you said that.
No, I'm not wrong.
That's a terrible take.
Jefferson will pass him in time, but as of right now, Thielen is still the wide receiver.
Still say as of right now, it's Jefferson.
Horrible take.
No.
Horrible take. My fantasy sit this week. So the starts players that we want you guys to jam into your lineup. Don't question it. Throw them in. The sit players are players where if you have the ability, like if you can afford to, try and keep these players on your bench this week. My fantasy sit is Antonio Gibson. He's still kind of working through an injury. It's like a shin fracture. It does not sound very pleasant to play with. And he just doesn't have the role that we thought he would coming into fantasy drafts. I remember Shrieker came on and we were talking about, they were saying they were going to use him, Gibson, like the Panthers use McCaffrey, and it has been the complete opposite of that. He's getting unvaluable touches. He's not playing the 2-minute drill. He's not catching passes. Everything, like the valuable touches, are being funneled straight to J.D. McKissic. And so Antonio Gibson, unless he scores a touchdown, has been pretty bad in basically every fantasy football matchup this week. And this week he's playing the Denver Broncos. Well, I don't think that they're gonna blow him out of the water at all. But they're still a pretty decent defense. I think this game will be low scoring because I think the Washington defense is figuring it out as well. And so I feel like Antonio Gibson is not going to have a very good week. Of course, for the rest of the season, I think he's one of those guys that also, like, you wait until he has a good week, you try and move off of him. it sucks because I think he could have taken that McCaffrey role. And a lot of people in fantasy drafts are kind of suckered in to drafting him because of the things that were said, because of the outlook of the offense. And it's just been completely different. I think if you can afford to, if you got some other running backs, you jam Antonio Gibson on your bench and you throw those guys in the lineup instead.
Yeah, I'm just, it's not that I'm disappointed in Gibson. I just wish they, utilized him a little bit better because I really want to see him thrive. Like, this is a guy I've really been rooting for. My sit of the week, it says I put Tua down, but realistically, like Tua, Gaskin, or Waddle, I would sit really any of them because this is a well-rested Bills defense who throttled Miami when they, of course, it was with Jacoby Brissett, but they throttled Miami in that Week 2 game. And honestly, I don't really see any of those guys having a really great game. So if you have them starting right now, if you got someone that you want to throw in, I'd throw them in because I don't really think the Dolphins offense is going to look much better than it did in Week 2, even with Tua starting over Jacoby Brissett. But I guess I'll point out Tua as my sit of the week, but I'd also include Gaskin and Waddle potentially in that combo.
I heavily disagree. I don't know what you whiffed on Waddle. I thought Waddle gets catches. I like if this
yeah,
is
but he's going up against the Bills, though.
No, I'm starting Waddle. I disagree with you on that one.
I think I agree with that. I think it's more Gaskin and
yeah,
Tua.
more No, I think it's more Gaskin.
Fair enough.
Not even Tua. I think Tua, he'll be down, so he'll have to throw a lot. I think he'll get the yards.
But also, I mean, how many fantasy lineups are you gonna be starting Tua in?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't even think. But I mean, if it's a deep league, maybe. But yeah, Tua's probably
12 man's a kid.
I would sit Gaskin, but I would give you a start on Waddle. I also have to start him in my 14-man, so I'm also a little bit defensive on that. But my sit of the week is a guy that I was high on coming into the year, and it really sucks to say this, but it's Brandon Cooks. He's going to go up against the Rams. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey is going to be on him. I don't think Tyrod Taylor's going to play on Sunday, even though there's a chance he might. It's going to be Davis Mills, and if it is, yeah, it's not going to be pretty. I don't think Brandon Cooks can get that much separation, and his confidence has just been shattered. You saw it against the Cardinals. I don't know if you guys did, but I saw it live. 4th down, he just dropped a wide open pass. He's very frustrated. I'm sure you guys saw the tweet after they traded Mark Ingram. He was like,
he doesn't want to be there.
This is, BS. He doesn't want to be there. Who could blame him? He's been the one kind of bright spot in this offense. And even then it's kind of been, his light has kind of been dimmed down. It really sucks to say this because I drafted him in almost every league I could. I think I have him in 6 out of 7. And the one I didn't, someone took him right before me and told everyone to start him. And then the first 3 weeks he popped off with Tyrod. And then, it kind of just went downhill from there. So that's my sit of the week. It sucks to say that, but yeah.
Well, yeah, let us know, please, if you guys enjoyed this segment. We'd be happy to do it every week. But if you guys don't want to, we'll move on and just kind of hit straight to picks. If you have any more start sit questions that maybe you don't follow the Instagram, weren't able to put them in the stories, leave them down in the comment section if you're on YouTube, and we'll be happy to answer them. Good luck in your fantasy football matchups this week. If you got any of these starter sits, just take what we said to heart. Think about it. If they fit,
you don't have to listen, but I think we've got.
You don't have to listen. No,
good.
You don't have to, man.
Yeah.
Some people may have Antonio Gibson as their RB1. They can't throw anyone in above him, and that makes sense. But moving on to picks.